I thought it was best to preserve the little bit of passion for teaching that I had left and resigned. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It has been a long time since I've been here, and this is a video where I explain where I've been and how things took a turn. So many things have changed since my last vlog. I think the last vlog I posted was back in October maybe. Gone back and forth for a long time trying to decide whether or not I should tell you or not. But ultimately I realized that I can't really make content without addressing this first. So let's back things up to July of 2020. In mid-July, I had resigned from my old school. And for this video, let's just call it School A. So I had resigned from School A and I took a job at School B. Before making this decision, I really went back and forth on whether or not I should take it or stay at School A. And ultimately, I decided to go to School B. I loved School A so much, but I didn't really see a path for professional growth there, just because it's such a small school. It's a charter school. It's the only charter school in its network. Is that what I don't know. It's just a standalone school. Also, I'm tired, so I only did this hand. And it's so small that there's only one teacher per grade level, one principal, that's it. So if I ever wanted to get into, let's say, instructional coaching, there wasn't room for that. I ended up going to School B, and School B is actually where I did my student teaching at, and I was actually replacing my mentor teacher from student teaching. She was gonna step away from teaching for a little bit, so I was going to take her position. I know that student teaching and teaching are completely different things, but I was hopeful that it would be a good experience. So in late July, I started working at School B, and I was really struggling. So I was learning all new procedures, rules, methods, curriculum, and trying to find what resources were available to me. And all that proved to be really difficult because it was in the middle of that pandemic. Because I wasn't able to ask these questions in person, it was just a lot of back and forth, emailing and calling. So I had a very rough start, to say the least. I could go on and say all the things that went wrong, but I'd rather just not get into that. The first 3 weeks of the school year were really hard, and it really kind of started taking a toll on my mental health. I began thinking that switching jobs in the middle of a pandemic while teaching remote in a new school in a new district was just not the smartest choice for me at the time, at least not this year. And I do want to point out that I did have the most amazing, because at School B there was 2 teachers per grade level, and I did have a really amazing supportive team teacher. Although I had a lot of support from her, I still couldn't shake this feeling in my head. I felt like my mind was cloudy all the time, and I couldn't get myself to find the joy in teaching that I had once before. Fortunately, I couldn't even find pockets of it. I just felt overworked and miserable all the time. And on top of that, switching from a charter school to a public school district, there's a lot of things in finances that go into play that I wasn't aware of, and it all kind of hit me all at once. For example, for me, at my old charter school, we didn't participate in their Arizona retirement system because I think charter schools don't for the most part, but we did have a 401k that we would contribute to, and we could choose how much we wanted to contribute to. What's the average person that contributes to the 401k?
Between like 4 to 6%.
Okay, so like I was contributing probably, I don't know,
13.
no, at the charter school.
Oh,
Probably like 4. Probably 4%. Once I went to School B, because it is part of the public school system, I had to contribute 12%. 12% of an already small paycheck was really shocking to see. It was really shocking to see, especially while I was already feeling very overwhelmed and overworked. So for transparency's sake, I felt like I was always working, but my paychecks were only a little bit over $800 for a bi-weekly paycheck. That's including the 12% retirement and then all the other deductions like healthcare, and if I wanted to get paid over the summer, then there was another, what percentage was that, like 16%?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah, another 16% taken out to put aside for summer. At my charter school, I used to get paid also over the summer, but they would just divide my salary into the whole year. So although it's kind of the same thing, it was just more shocking to see like your initial amount and then have everything taken out and then see the small number at the end. At that point, I was in such a low place that I was just ready to give up teaching altogether, and I was already looking at other jobs that had nothing to do with teaching. I didn't really care what it was. I was looking at TJ Maxx and Home Goods and things like that, just as long as it wasn't teaching. So in October, after giving it a lot of thought and really talking about it with like Alex and friends of mine that I trust a lot, I thought it was best to preserve the little bit of passion for teaching that I had left and resign, as opposed to me sticking it out and risking the chance that I would not come back to teaching altogether. This was by no means an easy decision for me at all, but ultimately I had to do what was best for me, and that was resigning from the position. I ended up resigning on a Wednesday, and it just happened that that Friday we were gonna go on fall break for a week. So I had about 9 days off, like from teaching altogether, to kind of think about what was next for me and what I wanted to do next with my career. I wasn't sure if I wanted to take the rest of the school year off or if I wanted to try and find another job in teaching in the spring semester. I just really wasn't sure. Well, just like this position felt like it lined up for me, something else ended up lining up for me as well, and School A had a position open up literally like the following week. That position was for a general education teacher to work under the special ed department, to work with small groups or one-on-one to provide services. So I ended up taking that role just for the remainder of the school year. When I took it, School A was in a mix of hybrid and in-person. Like I mentioned, that school is so small that it was left to the teachers to decide whether or not they wanted to be in person or in hybrid depending on their numbers. So there was some classes that had fully in person, some classes that had hybrid. I do want to emphasize that I'm only doing this role until the end of the school year, which is like 12 more school days at this point. My ultimate plan when I took this position was to hopefully be able to go back to first grade in that same school, because I was truly happy there. This current role is so incredibly different than being a classroom teacher. I pull out kids from grades kindergarten through 8th grade all day long, and I work with them in small groups or one-on-one. I really do miss being in the classroom. I know that being in the classroom, quote unquote, is very different now than it was before March 2020. So back in October, I hinted on Instagram, and I'll show the post right here. I hinted towards the fact that something had changed. After I posted that, I never really addressed the fact that I was in a different position, because quite frankly, I was embarrassed that I resigned and that I quit. It just kind of felt like I gave up. I felt so much guilt doing something that was what was best for my mental health and my well-being. Today, although a lot of months later, I decided to come and share this with you just in case you are going through something similar, or even if you remotely had a thought of quitting teaching after a year like this one. You know, we tend to post the highs of our lives on social media, and I do this too. It's so easy to get caught up in the thinking that, oh, they seem to be thriving and doing well during this difficult time, so I must be doing something wrong. There's something wrong with me. I'm not doing enough. Something like that. You know, like that was my internal monologue from July, or like end of July, through like mid-October before I resigned. And that is a big reason why I decided to resign. If I didn't leave now and take a break to then come back later, I would have never come back. And I'm 100% sure of that. So yeah, that's the secret I've been keeping from you guys. Now that my secret is out, I want to move forward, and I feel like I can move forward now. The school year is almost ending, and honestly, there's been a lot of changes in School A since I went back. Changes in admin and stuff like that. So for a minute there, I was scared that I wasn't going to be able to go back to first grade, but I was just happy to be at a place where I know I have support all around. As of this past week, it looks like I am going to be teaching first grade next year. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.